Sure. So when I first heard about Kind Soups, I was intrigued, and then when I learned that they wanted to provide a few soups for us for our patients, that was it was the first time to do something like that. So you know I knew that my patients would like frozen soups. So I just wasn't sure how do I start, because they're coming to see me in the office. And I know that many of them are actually, either going home from a hospital stay or they're really very sick. And initially, we thought that we spoke with the nurses at the office and we thought it's best to just start with soups for patients who are post-discharge or, they won't have the wherewithal to cook at home.
Yeah,
And we know how important nutrition is during the time of recovery, especially.
yeah.
And so that's how we started the program. And, you guys were so kind enough to give the soups to us. And then we would ask our patients. We call them members. We don't call them patients.
Uh-huh.
And then some were open, some would be, oh, I'm okay. But then, we realized that there was a big need. And that's how all this program came about. Um, the ways in which it helped, one is when they are going home from the hospital or they are really sick that they cannot, cook or put things together. Um, and then many of them actually live in areas where it's really difficult to come about nutritious food. And so it really helped them, help those patients specifically. Another part of it is, you know, many a times when you're with limited budget, you don't want to try new things or things that you're not used
Right,
to.
right.
And so when I would, I'm thinking about an example. There's one soup that everybody loved that was the potato and leek soup,
Mhm.
and and then and there were many more, but there were some, which had like more quinoa, or when the soup said, plant-based or no oil, um, the patients would be like, I'm not sure, but then they would try it and then like it and then ask for that again. And can
Oh,
can I please have that soup? And if we had it, we were lucky. If not, we would, say this is what we have.
yeah.
But and then some of them started to go out and buy some of these ingredients because they know they liked it, or the people at home liked it, and so they were willing to spend their money on buying some of these other ingredients, which are not necessarily expensive, but they're just things that you're not used to.
Right.
And
That's
right?
such a good point. You spending money on an unknown when you don't have money to throw away is just a bridge too
Exactly.
far. That's I had never thought of that. Thank you. Yeah.
And then in our practice, we also run a group medical visit a program where we go deep into lifestyle. So we use lifestyle medicine, and nutrition is a huge pillar of lifestyle medicine. And so the soups really helped with that because we would talk about the ingredients in the soup, and then the either they would try the soups or take it home. And that also, prompted them to try different ingredients.
Yeah.
And the good thing about the soups that you created, they were not like exotic. They're not things that you cannot make easily with limited resources. And that's what we appreciated as well.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, so all in all, it serves many purposes. I definitely think it plays a key role when patients are not doing well at home, so they are not well enough to cook for themselves or their loved ones. And especially when they're homebound, it's a big help.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you. And would that be something that you all would have any interest in picking up again, or are you still in practice and with the same
Yes.
clients? Yes.
Yes, I am. Yes, and I would definitely love to collaborate more. We are doing a program now specifically for patients with diabetes,
Mm,
and it's a program through the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and I've combined some diabetes self-management and education components into it. So it's an 18-week program a good amount of it is going to be focused on food as medicine.
Yeah.
And if we could collaborate on that, that would be fantastic. I think the patients would love that.
Let's do that offline. As I was listening to you speak, I was thinking how important it was that you all had access to the recipes, which we normally don't deliver when we deliver soups. But perhaps that would be an important ingredient so that the ingredients that are in there are known to people who receive them. Would you
Yes,
agree?
yes. I definitely think the batches that I was getting, they did have ingredients on it.
Well, we
Uh,
usually list anything that could be a problem, but we don't go
problem.
into,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
for
And I
instance,
think
quinoa, sorry, go ahead.
the recipes help a lot because
Okay.
ultimately they want to learn how to make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it might be important for whoever we're supporting to have access to the recipe. So it could be a conversation and not just a handoff.
Yes, I think a conversation, a site like a website or a place where they can go, but even just some printed recipes
Yeah,
are actually, they love to have that printed recipe in
printed.
hand.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
I try to make it a little glossier sometimes because it just, it's like if you have five or six of those and you have five or six different kinds of those, then you can change certain ingredients and build so many recipes out of those, right? And
Right.
so I like to get some nicer, printed recipes on cards
Yeah.
so they can actually hold on to those for a long
Yeah.
time.
And do you recall any other soups that were especially eye-opening and enjoyed by your clients? I know I wrote down potato leek, but were there other? I know that you do a million things and you may not remember.
I, I potato leeks. It stands out because there's one patient, she still asks for it every time I see
Ah,
her. So I know she liked it a lot. And then we actually looked up recipes together, and then we worked through that. Um, I think that there was one recipe with one soup with chickpeas. It
lemon?
was almost Afghani uh,
Oh,
soup,
yeah,
and I think it was also with like they love the flavors in that. So they like to try something new,
they do.
so
Okay.
something they're not used to, and
Yeah.
then they like it, and then they ask about how to make it. And I think that's a great way to get some important, like good herbs and, spices into your diet as well.
That's fantastic. And any story that stands out about a client who, for you, lifestyle medicine, including food as medicine, really changed how they were doing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I definitely think there are many such, because we've been working with our patients now for over 2.5 years.
yeah.
And we used to meet them on a every 2 weekly basis, and now we meet them on a weekly basis. So,
The big graduation step. Yeah.
so I think a couple of stories from the soup point of view that stand out is one patient who he makes this huge batch. Like he volunteers at his church, and then he makes this like a huge batch of soup,
Yeah.
and he just puts whatever he he has at home or he thinks will go well with it. So it's like beans and lentils and veggies, and so he just makes this by himself,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think he's somebody who's done really well. He's come off a lot of his blood pressure medicines,
Oh,
and so so I think that is nice because he's not just doing it for himself, but he's also doing it for others. There are
he's a
some
real
patients.
convert.
Yes. So there are some people there's one person who stands out. He started a TikTok video with the foods, that he has incorporated into his repertoire. So that's, a test to,
That's
it's good
fantastic.
to hear that, right?
Yeah.
Because when you start feeling better, when you're eating a certain way, you really want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And people think it is not they think it's uncommon to to actually come off medications or decrease the dosages of medicines and feel better, but we see it all the time.